we have an Hanukkah bush and everything.
Let's go to another question. This is from Andy Johnson from Colchester. Andy, if you're watching, thanks very much for this. He wants to know, right? Change the subject now. Do the government do enough for veterans?
Well, that is a massive change. I mean, we've just gone from singing YMCA to like a really serious question.
Absolutely, that's what the show's about there. I'm going to throw this to Denzel.
Yeah.
Right? You're
Yeah,
a veteran,
well,
so-
in a nutshell, no. Right. This country has been fighting wars since hundreds of years ago. Let's face it. You'd think we'd have got it right by now, wouldn't you? I mean, right from the Crimea, right up to the present time. You know, you had soldiers living on the streets selling matches back after the Crimean War. And they're still doing that, but they're not selling matches anymore, are they? They're just trying to find enough for food, which is, I think, is terrible this day and age. And also, and I know the British public do actually think quite seriously about this subject, and they know they deserve better. And I know we're short of this, that, and the other. We've got an awful lot going on. Housing is a very desperate situation. There's a shortage of housing in this country across the board. But when we've still got people living on the streets and needing support of that kind, then have the government got it right? Absolutely not.
No.
And they rely on charity. And I think it's about time they took up a bit of duty of care. That's in all seriousness.
Thank you very much, Denzel. Big round of applause for Denzel. So I'm going to throw it across to Sam. What do you think on this, Sam?
Well, I'm really glad you've given it to me, because actually my brother left the forces recently. Well, I say it was the RAF, but I think it still counts, doesn't it? And he'd been in there for 17 years, and he didn't even get a leaving card from the people that he's working for. And I think that's rather sad. He'd done Afghanistan twice, he'd done Iraq, he'd done Bosnia, he'd done Ascension, he'd done everywhere that they sent him, and he didn't get a word of thanks. And he is a complete dickhead, but even so, I do feel that they should have supported him. And the transition actually from the forces into Civvy Street is not an easy one.
Yeah.
And I think most people find it very difficult, and to just give them a bit of support with that, to me, would be a minimum requirement of any decent country.
Yeah, indeed. You're spot on. And of course, the transition from being a serviceman to becoming a civilian, it's not as simple as that. I enlisted as a 15-and-a-half-year-old boy soldier. And of course, all I ever knew about life was school and the army and the things I did in the army. And when you get discharged, you're very much like a lone wolf, and it's a struggle. And some people do better than others, but I would say it takes some years for you to transit really from that one place to another place. You'll never really forget your past in the military. And there's a lot of successful people, of course, that's come from the military into civilian life. And of course, it's great to hear those stories. And yes, there's only a smaller proportion of people that don't make it. But it's those that don't make it that we have to concentrate on and make sure that we capture them. They mustn't fall through the net, because they deserve a lot better.
That's wonderful. I do have some statistics here that I'm going to read out to you in a second. Adam, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think the main thing is, like a couple of you brought it up as well, the transition between like military life or Air Force life and then into Civvy Street is like those people have been spending years being told exactly what to do every minute of the day, where they're going to go, where they're allowed to be, where they're not allowed to be. And then all of a sudden they come out and they're not used to having that, like basically being barked orders all day, do this, do that. They're not used to it. And I left the army and had exactly the same thing. I was used to having those orders all day long, exactly. And you were told exactly what to do every minute of the day. Yep. Then I got married.